5 minutes late for your meeting. You rushed in, started to apologize nonstop. You say things like, sorry, I'm the worst, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Finally, one of your colleagues said it was fine, but you still couldn't pull yourself together to stop apologizing. That's when the atmosphere froze. If you look into your apologies deeper, they aren't fixing your mistake at all. You think you're doing your best to show sincerity, but actually, you're handing the people in the room an emotional bill they never asked for. Your guilt. Now, you know your problem is that you shouldn't over-apologize or people-please. So, you wonder, besides apologizing, what else can I do? A few years ago, one of my friends, Sarah, had this over-apologizing pattern. I thought she was the most polite and nicest person I've ever met when I first met her. Back then, she was in a toxic relationship with Alex. In a minute, you'll see why I call their relationship toxic. It's probably not what you think. One of the things we talked about most when Sarah and I got together, of course, was her relationship. Things like Alex forgot to pick her up, she didn't like the way Alex treated her, little things like that. And there was this one particular thing that bugged me about the way they communicated. No matter what they were arguing about or whose fault it was, Sarah would always apologize. Apologizing seems like a virtue at first glance. But if we look a little deeper, a person who's always over-apologizing is almost like always demanding ransom or handing you the emotional bill. In fact, one might wonder, are those apologies really for the other person or for themselves? In a previous episode, we talked about the tacit contract, which is the contract you sign when you don't speak up. If you find yourself agreeing to circumstances you never asked for, you might want to check out this video right here. Or here, I'm not sure. Anyway, there I share practical steps on how you can speak up without ruining your relationship and your position. Later, I'll show you the 3-step framework Sarah used to save her relationship. First, let me show you the hidden cost of Sarah's over-apologizing. So let's go back to the toxic pattern in Sarah's relationship. In one particular fight, Sarah kept apologizing after accidentally buying the wrong size trash bags. Now, you might paint Alex as the bad guy in this relationship. But here's the twist. The problem wasn't Alex not accepting Sarah's apologies. In fact, Alex was not only fine with Sarah's mistakes, he would also soothe her feelings. The biggest issue was, even after Alex reassured Sarah that everything was fine, she would need to confirm, not once, but at least 3 times if Alex was actually okay with the situation. Sarah might think her reassurance would show Alex how much she cared about his feelings, but actually, she was demanding emotional ransom from him. The more Sarah apologized, the more she irritated Alex. If we look at Sarah's behavior in a deeper layer, she was making Alex pay the emotional ransom to make herself feel better. By the end of the fight, both of them felt resentful and drained. Now, the question is, patterns like this constantly signal Sarah's partner that she has no power or influence over the result of the conflict or situation. In a sense, Sarah keeps reinforcing the idea that she's helpless. And if similar situations happen in a workplace, how would these labels affect one's career? If you'd like to know how over-apologizing would affect your job or career, leave a comment down below. Or tell me a story about how you were annoyed when emotional ransom was demanded. Now, without further ado, let me show you the 3-step framework that saved Sarah and Alex's relationship. The first thing you're gonna do is simply notice. Dig deep into your past experience. I call this step the trigger map. Notice when you tend to apologize the most. Recognize your own patterns. Was it when you did something by accident, arrived at the office 5 minutes late, or simply said something stupid to your friend? For Sarah, her behavior showed that she apologized the most when she felt insecure. Next, we move on to the pivot. Instead of asking for reassurance, something like, "Are you sure you're okay?" you acknowledge the fact once and pivot to the solution. So in Sarah's case, she could say something like, "I got the wrong size bags, I'll swap them out tomorrow." And then, this is the hard part. She stopped talking and moved on. She stopped handing Alice the bill for her guilt. Finally, the last step is the swap. This is the most powerful tool in the framework. Instead of saying, "I'm sorry I'm late," which forces the other person to do the work of forgiving you, you say, "Thank you for your patience." This shifts the focus from your mistake to their virtue. It closes the emotional bill instead of sending it. When Sarah stopped demanding emotional ransom, something shifted in her relationship with Alex. Because she wasn't constantly labeling herself as helpless, Alex started seeing her as his partner again instead of a burden. The apology paradox breaks when you own your space, mistakes, and all. These acts actually strengthen your impact in both the situation and your communication. In the next episode, we'll dive into how intentionally timing pauses can amplify your influence and impact in communication. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!